AITA for deciding not to pay my daughter's tuition and rent? My husband and I, 54, set up college funds for each of our children before they were born. We've been quite lucky, and now each account could pay for 4 years of private college. Easily. The issue is with our eldest, 24F. Let's call her Natasha. She's married to her wife, Miriam, who is a nice girl but has no ambition whatsoever. We split the cost of the wedding with her parents. Miriam has a master's, but her job is something with little kids on the spectrum, and it's only part-time. She also has a condition that I don't want to get into too much here that makes her more burdensome. We paid for Natasha's college out of pocket, reasoning we can save the college fund for grandkids, etc. She first got a job when she graduated, but then she wanted to go to grad school. We said okay. We will pay for your grad school as long as you study hard and be responsible. Recently, the girls started making noises about taking foster children into their home, an apartment very close to campus that we pay for. We said that's probably not a good idea, but it just went in one ear and out the other. Natasha texted the other day saying that her tuition for spring semester is due, and after discussing it with her father, I asked if she was still planning on taking in foster kids. She replied that they were almost done with the process and could have their home open in a little as a month. At that point, I texted a calm and measured paragraph explaining that we couldn't support them anymore. The whole point of paying for everything is so Natasha wouldn't have to work, not so she could be distracted and deal with someone else's kids. Miriam called me and was kind of awkward. I explained my reasoning and she said okay. She said Natasha's grades probably aren't going to go down at all from having a kid in the house. And I said that would be nice. But you don't know that for sure. I said there's plenty of other ways they could do community service together. Even with Miriam's condition, she agreed there probably are other avenues. My friends all have different opinions. Some don't understand why Natasha doesn't have access to her college fund since she's over 21. But all I can say is she just doesn't. One thinks I'm the asshole because Natasha's already done 1 month of work for the semester, and they already have the furniture for the child set up. So, Reddit AITA? Probably an unpopular opinion, but NTA. Your daughter is a grown-ass woman, married and on the cusp of expanding her family, all the while not paying for her own lifestyle or education. Yes, you set up a college fund and I think you should pay this semester, since it's too late for her to back out. But you can stop paying for their rent. You saved the money for her, but ultimately it's your money. I don't think she is entitled to it. It's time for them both to figure out their own path. Money excluded. NTA. You paid for her college education. That is beyond what many kids gets. On top of that you paid grad school and rent? That's a lot of money they are taking from you. Wanting to take on foster's kids is a noble and compassionate act, but not one they should focus on if they can't afford their own rent. I think it's fair to say that if they choose to take on this life-altering venture, then you may choose to change your level of financial support. NTA. And I don't understand the YTAs. You've already paid for your daughter's college and are now paying for grad school in the apartment she lives in. I think it's entirely reasonable for you to want your daughter to focus on her postgrad. Looking after foster children isn't a walk in the park. She will get distracted from her studies. If she wants to do this, she can wait until grad school is finished and she's financially independent. You don't seem to like your daughter-in-law much, which is a different issue. But in these circumstances, NTA. Your money is intended to help support your daughter so she can study. You probably never intended to be supporting your daughter's wife. And you're correct that having a child, especially one who may need extra attention, would distract from your daughter's studies. It sounds like Miriam is bored and looking for something to do with herself. She should probably be working more and contributing to the costs of rent. In my book, getting married is an emancipating action. Your daughter and her wife should be paying their own expenses. Having to do that will drive them to different choices in life. NTA. The helping out should have stopped when she got married. I do think you need to go ahead and pay this semester. She can get a loan or apply for a scholarship when semester is over, but your duties of paying for everything are over. We will pay for your grad school as long as you study hard and be responsible. Seems OP was pretty clear in the beginning in terms of demands. One spouse works, but only part-time. The other is going to school full-time and not working. OP and husband are paying the rent for their apartment. Taking in foster children is not a responsible action at this point. NTA. The college fund may not have been used for the undergraduate degree and the graduate degree, but OP's daughter has definitely used a college fund. Parents' money out of pocket. She's in an enviable position and seems ready to blow it all up. NTA. Yes. You saved a college fund, but then you were able to pay for your daughter's college out of pocket. Now, you're paying her rent in grad school. How much is her rent? If she can't afford to pay her rent on her own, she's in no place to be fostering children. I'm confused. You wrote, "We will pay for your grad school as long as you study hard and be responsible." What is the evidence that she is not being responsible? In the absence of such, I think you should pay for grad school. Some don't understand why Natasha doesn't have access to her college fund since she's over 21. But all I can say is she just doesn't. I think this is my biggest issue. You decided to pay out of pocket rather than giving her the college fund that was set up for this specific purpose. And now you're caught in a situation where you're funding her entire life, which is very generous of you, but also means you can withdraw that support at any time with seemingly very little warning. You should have just given her the money when she came of age, and then it would be her decision what to do with it, and her own problem once it ran out. NTA. The daughter and her wife are adults who can barely, if that, support themselves. They have no business bringing a kid into things. And no business asking OP to subsidize this decision. They're young and can wait a few years until they're in a better financial situation before adopting a condition that makes her more burdensome. Wow. NTA. Having your own family means supporting yourself and your family. They should stop being a leech. NTA. You already paid for a 4-year college. Her wanting to do grad school is awesome, but doesn't mean it needs to be on your dime. You were still willing to support her so she could focus on it completely, which is awesome. But if she's doing other stuff in addition to grad school, she might as well just get a job to pay for it and take her time with the program. NTA. They cannot support themselves, so they shouldn't be supporting other people's kids. NTA. She's taking advantage of the situation. I do think that you're backing out of the agreement too close to the deadline though. What about telling her she's not holding up her side of the deal and you're paying only for this semester and, I don't know, maybe the next 3 months of rent, and then she's on her own since she's in an enough comfortable position in life to be able to afford a place, a marriage, a kid, and school? Could this be an acceptable solution for you? If Natasha and wife have time to take in and care for foster kids, they have time to get jobs and pay their own rent. Only someone who has never had kids would argue children don't take up an enormous amount of attention. And these are traumatized kids, so probably need more than your average well-adjusted kid. If Natasha expects her parents to pay her rent and grad school costs when she is 24 years old, then she needs to abide by the conditions that privilege comes with. AITA is not saying she shouldn't or can't ever foster kids. She is saying she is only prepared to support her daughter and her wife. And that is it. Frankly, I think that is pretty generous. The one thing I will ding AITA for is AITA should have made it clear when they first said they were thinking seriously about fostering that you would stop paying their rent and tuition. This should not have come as a surprise to them. AITA has paid for her college and is now paying for grad school. They paid half for her wedding. They were paying for the apartment that their daughter and her wife are living in. Now they want to bring in foster kids. AITA said they would pay for college as long as she studied and was responsible. AITA doesn't think that his daughter is being responsible. She is making choices by spending someone else's money. At this point she is taking advantage of her parents. As long as she goes to school she will continue to have mom and dad fund her lifestyle. She is a married 24-year-old. Now she wants to add children to the list of dependents that her parents are responsible for. Yes, his daughter is making her parents responsible for keeping a roof over this potential foster child's head. NTA. They are trying to make a terrible mistake and you don't have to help fund that. They are being irresponsible and unfair to any future foster child. They don't make enough to support themselves and they want to take on an 18+ year commitment that will be harder to take care of than themselves. AITA. Your daughter and her wife want to do a wonderful thing, but if they are not financially independent then they are not in a place in their lives to do this. Miriam has a condition that I don't want to get into too much here that makes her more burdensome. This is important. Is Miriam lazy or is she chronically ill? Is Miriam lazy or is she suffering from mental health issues? You can't just leave something important out that has to do with Miriam and say, well, she's burdensome. So what is it? Is it a condition that she cannot help or is she merely lazy? Grad school requirements. We will pay for your grad school as long as you study hard and be responsible. Okay. And? She's not even got the foster kids yet and you already ripped away her grad school money? Fostering. The whole point of paying for everything is so Natasha wouldn't have to work. Not so she could be distracted and deal with someone else's kids. Wow, that's harsh. Also, requirements above state, study hard and be responsible, not allowed to adopt kids or do anything that isn't studying for school. You promised to pay for grad school if she studied hard and was responsible. She's been studying hard and the only thing she's done is try to foster. Which isn't even irresponsible. It's just extremely hard work. If her grades would be dropping that would be different. But she doesn't even have the kids yet. So yeah, in my opinion YTA.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. AmITheAsshole is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.